Shalom, everyone. I am here with Esther Levens. Now, when I was with Ambassador and Mrs. Ayalon up in Washington, D.C., everyone said, Jackie, you have got to meet Esther Levens. She is Jewish. She's working as part of the Holocaust Museum in Israel. And Esther is the CEO and founder of Unity Coalition for Israel. Esther, I'm delighted that you're with me today.
I'm thrilled to be here, Jackie.
Now, Esther, you're Jewish.
I am.
And at one time, did you even know there were Christians who supported Israel?
Really, I didn't. I truly didn't. It wasn't. My husband and I had been very involved politically for many, many years. And we were also involved in an organization called AIPAC, which is the official lobby for Israel. And so after my husband passed away, we had spent so much time supporting Israel and having events for Israel. I had been with Israel Bonds, and I was appointed then as a member of the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Foundation, and that was council in Washington, D.C., that sponsors the museum, of course. And I had had several events commemorating Israel for the governor of Kansas, and had put on several ceremonies for Yom HaShoah each year, and had a fairly good Jewish background, and felt very strongly, especially after serving on the Holocaust Council, that we could never let this happen again. And of course I became aware that silence prevailed before the Holocaust, and I couldn't understand it. And today, when many Christians say to me about the Jewish community, where is the Jewish community and why aren't they speaking out about the growing anti-Semitism and about the forced giveaway of land in Israel? Where is the Jewish community? I really don't know how to respond, because to me it's impossible that this can be happening again. I really do equate this time in history with the 30s, and I think our organizations all understand the danger, but getting the message out to the general public seems like a superhuman job to me, but we're really trying.
And it looks like with the reception that I see you getting here, Esther, that God is helping you. I mean, she walks in and everyone is so excited to see her. Now, Esther, we want people to know about this film or DVD. It's called Obsession. When I walked in, Linda Olmert handed me this DVD and said, Jackie, you've got to get this message out to the Christian community, to the viewing audience. What is Obsession? Tell us about it.
Well, Obsession is a film that was made a few years ago. It's won 3 national awards, film awards. It's politically incorrect, but it really describes the war that radical Islam is waging against the free world right now, today, while we're all asleep, I do believe. The film is extremely well done. Our organizations were putting together a seminar trying to expose the threat that is out there, and it's everywhere. It's in the United States. We well understand 9/11. And in fact, we use this film on 9/11 to hold events around the country. And I do recommend that everybody see the film, everybody purchase the film, and everybody show it to their family, their friends, to their communities, to their church groups, to their homeschool groups, because it encompasses the whole story of what we're confronting and facing. And people are, we have prepared a guidebook that will walk you right through the process of showing the film, and it contains a number of questions and answers to the questions, so that you can have your friends ask these questions publicly and be prepared to answer them. So, and it has a press release, it has an invitation, it tells you, just walks you right through the whole process of showing the film.
Right. Now, Esther, you mentioned that there are some great scenes. You mentioned someone named Carolyn Glick.
Carolyn Glick.
Carolyn Glick. Tell us what Carolyn is going to bring here.
Well, Carolyn Glick is one of the presenters who's captured on film, and anybody familiar with the Jerusalem Post knows that she is such an authority and such an expert. She is the deputy managing editor of the Jerusalem Post, and she's also a phenomenal spokesperson. Also featured is Nonie Darwish, whose father was a Muslim, who really was very deeply involved in terrorism, and she's the presenter. Also, Walid Shoebat is featured in this, and he is such an outstanding former terrorist who is a Christian now. And of course, Nonie Darwish is a Christian as well. Bridget Gabriel is in this. Everybody who is trying to get the message out, who is speaking, who are well-known figures nationally, are captured on film here and absolutely present the whole story that Americans really need to know.
Now, Brigitte Gabriel is a friend of mine. In fact, she worked in our Middle East network before Israel withdrew over the border. So let's watch and see what Brigitte has to say. Also, Walid Shoebat. He has appeared at many Christians United for Israel functions, and he is a sought-after speaker. Esther, I am very concerned myself. As I told you, my father helped liberate Dachau. He was in the infantry division that went in. As a child, I remember him bringing home pictures of the Holocaust. It was terrifying. We had never seen anything like it. But my parents wanted to instill into us that this had actually happened. I visited the Dachau Memorial, but already we have people who are denying that the Holocaust ever occurred. And this is the same attitude toward the terrorists. You know, we are taught to be politically correct, but it is a growing threat to our country. I have a question for you. If a person has roots in terrorism, do they overcome it, or are you still suspect to these Muslim terrorist groups?
Well, I think it takes a little while, but you pretty well learn people's hearts, I believe. And of course, one of the things that's been so amazing to me is to see these terrorists who have turned around and how eloquently they represent Christianity now, really, and how they deny or refute the whole premise of killing people to convert or converting them, which is the underlying premise for radical Islam. They, as probably you know, I'm sure you know, want to establish an international caliphate under Islamic law.
No, Esther.
Under Shariah law.
Under Shariah law. Tell our audience what Shariah law is.
Shariah law actually dictates the daily life of radical Muslims, the Wahhabi sect, which is largely financed by Saudi Arabia. One of our good friends, Frank Gaffney, says that this is the only time in history that the United States has been on both sides of a war, because unfortunately we are catering to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is training the most radical element of Islam. The Islamists or the Islamofascists that we talk about and that we're familiar with are the suicide bombers. They're being trained in camps in Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan and different parts of the world. And even today, many of the mosques that are spread throughout the United States are preaching hatred and are going unmonitored. And what's so amazing to me is that the president even brags about bringing in 15,000 Saudi students who are not screened and they're not tracked. And the universities here are actually fighting to get them, to have them admitted, because the Saudis are paying $30,000 a person per semester to keep these students in our colleges. And the colleges more and more are catering to the needs of the Muslims, whereas certainly religion does not play a part in our publicly financed schools. So Christians and Jews are not supposed to do anything religious or that's supported by the state, but we keep bowing to the Muslim demands.
This is an excellent point. Esther, I have a question for you. Do you think that America could be subject to more terrorist attacks? Are you concerned for the United States?
I truly am. I truly am concerned. It was not an isolated incident. We were fortunate enough that the Unity Coalition to be able to distribute a Jihad in America by Steven Emerson. And this was a film which we still have available, by the way.
Yes, we're going to put up your website right now for everyone to see. So if you're interested in any of these, please go to Esther's website. But tell us, this is a film, go ahead.
It was produced by PBS, and Steven Emerson, who is a phenomenal investigative reporter, filmed it and produced it, and it was shown one time on PBS, and because of pressure not to show it anymore, it was withdrawn and it was not available. And we worked with Steve Emerson it was produced in '94. In 1995, we got a grant to distribute it to all of Congress. So we started working with Steve Emerson back then. And we were one of the very few people who really had it available for sale after 9/11, when everybody was saying, what did we do wrong? What did we do to bring this on ourselves? And of course, Jihad in America tells the story long before 9/11 happened.
Okay, one final question here. Now we want you to look at Esther's website. We want to help distribute Obsession and these other fine films. But Esther, you told me you're Jewish, and you said I had to go and look how kind of you ran into Christians. Are you glad that Christians are involved and that we're here to support Israel, go to Israel, stand with Israel?
Well, I must say that the Jewish community couldn't exist without the support of Christians. I mean, if you're talking about devotion, I am overwhelmed with the dedication of the Christians that I have come in contact with and worked closely with. It's amazing to me how devoted and dedicated they are, not only to Israel, but to the Jewish people. And this is a whole new world that I discovered. And I'm just so proud that I've had a peek inside this world, because without the Christian support, there absolutely would be no Israel. And I really, truly believe that. It's sheer numbers, and we all vote. And without you beside us, we would cease to exist. I really, truly believe that.
Well, it's my joy being with Esther Levens today. We thank you for joining us. We're going to see more of her. And don't forget, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.